Tonight on Debbe Dunning's Dude Ranch Roundup. This week we're in Wyoming to visit Veebar Guest Ranch. We're going camping overnight, tubing down the river, attending a rodeo, and we're gonna see some real Wrangler action on a cattle drive. So stick around, it all starts right now. Welcome to Debbe Dunning's Dude Ranch Roundup. This week we find ourselves in Laramie, Wyoming at Veebar Guest Ranch. In 1994, Lefty Cole purchased the ranch, which dates back as far as 1891, when it was just a stagecoach and a post office. Before too long, it was expanded to include a saloon and multiple cabins to accommodate all the guests. Lefty's granddaughter Carrie started working at the ranch at the early age of 14 years old. Carrie met her husband Brent in college a few years later. She wasn't planning on taking over the ranch, but her grandfather knew she was the right choice to carry on the family legacy. Lefty made them an offer they couldn't refuse, so they packed up, headed home, and took over the family business. How long have you guys owned this?
It's been in my family since 1994,
Wow.
and Brent and I have been managing the ranch since 2005. This is our main lodge.
Okay.
This is where all of our dining takes place in the summers. But it was built in 1891 as a stagecoach stop. And there were a lot of mines, and so this stage stop was one of the last before they headed up the mountains into the mines.
And as I noticed right out there, there's a beautiful running stream. I mean, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, the little Laramie River flows through here.
Okay, so what do you have in store for me this week? I'm really excited to jump in.
We have a lot of activities planned.
Okay.
We have archery, trap shooting, cattle drive, a camp out. We cook out up there at the campsite, and people that want to stay and camp can do so, and those who want the comforts of their cabin can also come back and do that. We take them in the vans back.
I think I'll probably stay out. I think I'll
Most
probably, give it a
people
shot.
do.
All right.
A variety of accommodations, from teepees to tents to little cabins.
Oh, okay,
And
so it's a little more like
pillows.
glamping.
A little bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. And so when you get up there, are you gonna have dinner for everybody, or?
Yeah, we
Just-
cook
okay.
out over the fire and have a nice dinner, and
Wow, under the stars, that's gonna be,
Yes.
that's gonna be amazing.
yeah.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Okay,
Yeah.
what else? What's out here?
Yeah, let's head out here.
Okay. Brent now is the head wrangler, and he oversees the horses and the entire crew.
This is my husband, Brent.
Hi, Brent.
I'm Debbie. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
This main lodge behind us was built in 1891. The second story was added on in 1910.
Okay.
And the dining room, which is over here to our right, was an addition in the late 1990s.
Wow.
Yeah, there's two other cabins that are homestead cabins
Okay.
that were here in the early 1900s. And then once my family bought it, we added cabins to make a total of 9 cabins.
How many
And
people can you accommodate?
We sleep 30 people
30, that's the
for our
max.
summers. Yeah.
Okay.
But we are open year-round, and so we have a bed and breakfast that we start in the fall that goes through the spring.
Can people just drive off the side of the road and come in, or do they have to make a reservation?
To guarantee they get a space, they'll probably want reservations.
Yeah. But
yeah,
no limit?
No limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. This saloon is so cool. It's got a Western theme bar in honor of the Duke himself, John Wayne.
So this is the John Wayne Saloon.
I can see that. He's just everywhere. This is nice.
This is the John Wayne Saloon because he was a cowboy legend, of course.
Absolutely.
But my grandpa, when they bought the ranch, remodeled this into a saloon. It was a shop before. And he had a dog named Duke, and he particularly loved John Wayne, so it became the John Wayne Saloon.
Yeah, I used to have a dog named Duke.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And most of the John Wayne decorations have actually come from guests.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he started with just a John Wayne cardboard cutout and maybe one picture, and everything else the guests have mailed to us. There's a little story to almost every decoration in there, so.
Yeah. Well, it looks like the kids have already beat us to the action. They're outside doing this mounted archery, which is another unique way of shooting a bow and arrow.
What we have going on here is our four-wheeler, our iron horseback archery shooting. It's something we do to take guests and kids to just have a little fun and mix it up a bit.
So this is the mounted archery. We started up at the archery range and we took a couple of practice shots for those kids who didn't know how to shoot. And then we got on a horse, like a barrel with a saddle on it, and now they have 3 little targets on the ground that we're shooting at as we go by.
Okay, we've shot fake bears, deers, hogs, 2D, 3D. We've even shot moving dinosaurs. But this is definitely a first.
Real challenge, aiming while moving. I think the concept that it's moving while you're trying to shoot makes it harder to aim because you don't know where to aim and when, but they teach you, so it's easier.
The kids are having a lot of fun with this, and they're better than you think. Well, it's almost sundown and time to jingle the horses, and nothing is more fun to watch than a happy herd of horses running free. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna move a herd of cattle and watch some true Wrangler work in action, right here on Debbe Dunning's Dude Ranch Roundup. Brent is leading the action today at Veebar Guest Ranch, and he's going to guide us through a cattle drive.
So, welcome to the Heck Creek Ranch. So these are neighbors of ours that we move cattle for. We move cattle for a couple different neighbors. I like folks to understand we're not faking it. This ranch rotates pastures to control the rate that the cattle eat the grass so that they can keep the grass growing longer through the season. So if we didn't move them, they'd be out here moving them.
Yes, this is a real working business, and Brent knows it inside and out. He breaks down the math to illustrate the importance of doing it right.
Cattle work is meant to move slow, and it has nothing to do with whether you're guests or not. Sometimes you do go fast, but it's to solve a problem. So if they're going past the gate, you can go quickly over there to turn them back to the gate. But then as long as everything's going good, it's pretty mellow. So don't worry about whether you'll be able to keep up or not. Let's just say, kind of on an average, these cattle are gonna gain 2 pounds a day, okay? So if we go in there hooting and hollering and just run them just to have fun like you saw on the movies, those cattle get hot, kind of miserable, and they don't eat the rest of the day. They might eat a little, but they're not gonna gain weight. So let's just say they're bringing $1 a pound. That steer just lost 2 pounds, so $2 on one steer. Doesn't sound that bad till you multiply that by 352. And in one cattle drive, you lost that much money. So it's kind of a big deal.
First, we take a ride about a mile or so to catch up with the herd. Getting into an unsuspecting herd of cattle and pushing them where they need to go can be very challenging. They spook pretty easily, and they don't exactly like taking orders. We need to approach slowly and methodically. Herds are pretty predictable usually, but every now and then you get a few of these stubborn ones. The group surrounds them carefully, moving to strategic positions that give them nowhere else to go but to our destination.
So we kind of don't want to ride at them because we want the cattle to go this way, so we need to give them an open door this way. We'll just kind of spread out like this and stop, and then as the cattle pass us, we're just going to turn around and do a 180 and go with them. So we are the reason they have to go to that gate. If we aren't here, they could go to the mountain. Here on the side, we're kind of called the swing because we can control direction, but we cannot control momentum. If we tried to push those steers, they're just going to go every direction, right? So they are the pushers, but they can't control direction. So we turn and just ride like a wall to make the cattle stay where they are.
But of course, there's always a straggler. So a few of us are gonna head over and get her back into the herd.
There you go.
Next, we have to move this steer across the highway, which is a unique challenge that I haven't faced yet. We finally get the whole gang across the highway and headed down the right path.
The challenge is getting 350 cattle to cross a road where it's an active highway where there's cars coming back and forth. And you've also got children who are 5 years old, 8 years old. So This thing went very smoothly today, but you got to get ahead. You can't push them, you can't rush them. And I think if you take your time and patience, it seems to work out pretty nicely.
Now we get to watch some real action. A few of the steer have foot fungus, and they need to get a shot of antibiotics. You could probably imagine how easy that's gonna be.
So we're just doctoring them, gave her a heavy dose of antibiotics, and then what she's doing here, this is foot rot. They get an infection between their toes, and she's gonna burn it with a rope, which basically means open it up and let it kind of bleed, so some of that infection can get worked out, and then we're gonna get him up.
Gwen is one of the toughest wranglers I've ever seen. She handles this like a champion and gets the job done very fast.
That was 5 mils of Draxin for a hoof rot. And when they get really bad and they're limping around like that, they just don't feed quite as well, and just helps them out.
She's even got custom saddle attachments to carry all the medical gear. Oh, and a little dip
Want a dip?
to punctuate a job well done. When we come back, we're gonna shoot some guns, tube down the river, and have a little bit of a too close encounter with some wildlife, right here on Debbe Dunning's Dude Ranch Roundup. Tommy has been at Veebar Guest Ranch for over 15 years and knows the country like the back of his hand. Well, maybe even better.
So a lot of these cattle in this country come out of Old Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, southeastern part of Oregon, Idaho. If they come in weighing more than 550 pounds, they probably won't gain any weight for at least 30 days.
Okay.
So if they come in weighing 5 to 550, then they'll start putting on weight on grass.
Okay.
This grass in this country, the TDN in this grass is probably about 12 or 13%. You get back east of the Missouri River, and then the TDN in the grass drops down to about 8%.
Okay.
That's why they send all these cattle to this part of the country to fatten up.
There's a real science to feeding, fattening, and keeping a cattle herd healthy, happy, and ready for sale.
So Tommy, you've been at different cattle ranches, and you've been a lineman for the county.
Yeah.
You've been manager of dude ranches. What's your definition of a dude ranch?
Well, I think it probably the first answer I'd give is they get an experience of the Western way of life.
Yes.
And this guest ranch that I'm on, it's the only one I've ever worked on.
Okay.
But I've been around a few of them. And ours, a lot of them make them ride head to tail.
Yeah.
And if you're riding head to tail, you can jerk the steering wheel plumb off of one of these things and you'll follow the one in front
It's
of
absolutely.
you. You know, and that to me wouldn't be no fun.
No. I love it. I love being out there having
Yeah.
your own little path.
And we don't care how far this way they get on us as long as they don't get in front of us.
Okay.
And if they get in front of me, I only got 35 foot of rope.
To lasso them, you better ride pretty fast.
Yeah, there you go. But no, I think it's a good experience. I think people really enjoy it, and I don't think you can beat the Veebars for its experience and the freedom that we let the people have. And
Yeah.
I think it's a first-class operation.
Tonight we're going camping in the mountains. I am so excited to get out there. We've had a few interesting run-ins with the local wildlife. This wild moose stopped by to eat some grass along our hiking trail this morning, so we're just gonna head back and let him finish up what he's gotta do. And I don't mind getting in a little fly fishing while we wait.
Well, welcome to Veebar fly fishing. We have about 1.5 miles of the little Laramie River running right through here. This is prime brown trout habitat. There are some rainbows in it.
Okay.
The water temperature right now is about 57 degrees, which is pretty ideal. And what we're gonna be doing is throwing what's called a hopper dropper rig. So we
A
have,
lot of good sayings.
right? So we have this grasshopper imitation up top, and then onto that we tied this red and gold copper john. So basically we're doing top water and subsurface at the same time. Flop it in there. I was told you know a little bit about fly fishing. There you go.
Or I could do some skeet shooting with a few of the other guests.
Yeah, there you go.
Did I get it?
You got it.
Well, my work is done here.
Well, it's finally time to head out for our camping trip. This ride is a gorgeous trek through the wilderness, and Carrie and Brent have taken me on a private guided tour through this vast open land.
Well, we're coming up on a branch of the Little Laramie River.
Okay.
This is the middle fork of the Little Laramie.
Yeah.
And it comes together, there's 3 branches that come together, and then that's what makes the Little Laramie River at the Veebar. So we're just up
Okay.
higher along the same river.
And this is still all from snow melt.
Yes. It runs year round, and the snow is still melting up there. It's at a lower level right now than normal. And then it never dries up though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it runs all the time.
Even in the winter?
Yep.
How many acres do you say you own out here, Carrie?
This is about 4,000 acres.
4,000 acres. Huh.
That's this ranch. The Veebar is about 800.
Okay,
So,
all right.
2 separate places, but owned by the same family.
Oh, okay. So you've separated it, but it's still all yours.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Camp is straight this direction, right at the base of that ridge.
Up the hill, we can see a few wild horses running free. These guys don't belong to the ranch. In fact, they don't belong to anyone. We're gonna make it to camp pretty soon, and there's still so much more to do before we're done. So stick around on Debbe Dunning's Dude Ranch Roundup. We just got to our sleepover campsite, and they say first come, first serve. So I am gonna take a chuck wagon. We're at our campsite for the night at Veebar Guest Ranch. And dinner is smelling really good as everybody's getting settled in.
How cute is this?
The kids here are so smart, they just couldn't wait to gather inside and listen to this young man share the history of chuck wagons.
Truck wagons, cowboys used to go out in the fields, herding cattle, and they would need to cook, right? Because they'd be so busy. So they'd have a bed, maybe this long apart, it's not very big. And they would sleep, and then the rest of this would be filled with food so they could cook. And then they'd put out a tarp, they'd cook it, and then put out a tarp, put hot coals over the tarp, and put the food on the other side. So when the cowboys reached over, the heat was going in their face, so that way they wouldn't grab too much.
How long ago was this?
300 years ago?
Whoa.
Maybe. 200 maybe.
I think this is a chuck wagon because in Little House on the Prairie, the covered wagons didn't have any of the wooden things, so you could take the cover off whenever you wanted to.
Good point.
Wow! Sometimes history lessons come from the most unexpected places. Brent keeps us entertained around the campfire while the gang breaks off into their own little groups, having fun and enjoying time with each other.
They ran through the briars and they ran through the brambles. They ran through the bushes where a rabbit could go. Ran so fast the hound couldn't catch them. On down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. We fired our cannon till the barrel melted down.
Well, we cooked a little bacon and we cooked a little beans. And we battened down the hatches for a night of peaceful dreams. The next morning, we wake up, have breakfast, and get saddled back up to head home. What a great night. Okay, so we just woke up, we had some breakfast. It was beautiful last night. We had a little bit of wind, there was some rain. I was on the covered wagon, so I heard every raindrop. It was really neat. Everybody's getting ready, we're getting on our horses. We're gonna do the 1.5-hour ride back to camp and see what else they have in store for us today. Well, this is officially our last day at Veebar. So tonight, the Wranglers are putting on a little rodeo for us guests. But first, me and the kids are gonna enjoy a little sun one more time and take a float down the Little Laramie River.
You guys gotta wait!
Here we go! We're giving it a best shot, right?
I'll hold it for you. You in? Ready? All right.
This is one of the largest tributaries of the Laramie River, flowing 45 miles through Wyoming, with this beautiful section running right through the ranch.
Having fun, Mom?
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Will,
Here are your sunglasses.
Here are your sunglasses.
Oh, you got
Perfect day. Water's not too cold. You loving it?
Good.
That was so fun.
I have a shovel.
That never gets old.
So fun.
That was really fun. I might have thrown mine in the water.
Just before sundown, we're all going to gather around the arena for the rodeo. The Wranglers love doing this for fun. And while they've made sure to remind me they're not pros yet, I think they do a pretty great job. First, we're going to start with a little riding and shooting showcase. Now the kids are going to show off a few things they've learned this week. The Wranglers jump in for a little team roping, which is a skill so refined, it can take years and years before you actually get good at it. The incredible sense of timing, perfect balance, perfect release, all while moving at top speed on the back of a horse. Oh, I love cowboys. These Wranglers work so very hard. I think they love this time having fun, as much as us guests love watching them. Veebar Ranch has turned out to be so much fun. Carrie and Brent are amazing people, and it is so easy to see why her grandfather chose them to take this place to the next generation. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this show, but we're out of time on our show, so it's time to say goodbye once more. We have another spectacular ranch to show you next week, so be sure to join us again on Debbe Dunning's Dude Ranch Roundup. When you're ready to book your Dude Ranch vacation, visit our website for more information. And don't forget to tell them you saw it right here on Debbe Dunning's Dude Ranch Roundup.